been fighting hair loss and studying it for years, and this is what I wish I knew about hair loss before I started on my hair growth journey. So I was like you, and this video is basically to a younger me of things that I wish I had known about hair loss and DHT. My advice is to start early. If you've just noticed your hair thinning or you've been suffering with hair loss for years, this video is for you. Watch this before you waste your precious time and money so that you can get the best results and fast. I was diagnosed with androgenetic alopecia when I was younger, and the doctor prescribed me minoxidil, which only gave me an itchy scalp, made my hair fall out, and this chemical is the mainstream drug used to treat hair loss. And this doctor didn't even tell me what the hell causes hair loss. And there's so much misinformation out there. So this is a very technical video, but you deserve to have all the facts so you can make the right decision on how to treat it. And download my hair loss guide. It's completely free and I've linked it in the description. It's full of tips, tricks, and advice on how to fight hair loss naturally without any side effects. Okay, so you've ruled out any types of hair loss like vitamin deficiencies or stress, thyroid, and you can do this by having a blood test. Once you have ruled out any of those types of hair loss, you know you have androgenetic alopecia. Okay, but what does that even mean? We're gonna dive into how DHT, which is the hormone that causes hair loss, to understand how it contributes to hair loss, and we're gonna explore how DHT interacts with hair follicle receptors and why testosterone is converted into DHT. So let's break it down. Testosterone is the principal male sex hormone, and it is converted into DHT by the enzyme 5-alpha reductase. This conversion occurs primarily in certain tissues, including the skin, liver, but particularly in hair follicles. The conversion of testosterone to DHT happens in the oil glands of the hair follicle, making it a critical area for understanding hair loss. And remember that, because that is a really important point, which we're going to dive into later. So DHT is more sensitive for androgen receptors than testosterone. This means that DHT is more effective at binding to these receptors located on the cells of the hair follicles. Once DHT binds to these androgen receptors, it activates genes that lead to the gradual miniaturization of hair follicles. This process is characterized by the shortening of the anagen phase. This is the active growth phase of the hair follicle, and it lengthens the rest phase, which then goes into the dreaded shedding phase. As hair follicles shrink, which is known as follicle miniaturization, the hairs become thinner and shorter, and that is what happened to me. My hair was getting thinner and shorter. So the sensitivity of hair follicles to DHT is believed to be genetically determined. So it's just genes. But some people, like me, have a predisposition that means that follicles are more sensitive to DHT, which leads to more significant hair loss. So someone might have a lot of DHT, but have a whole thick, full head of hair, but they are not sensitive to DHT and DHT miniaturization. So why the heck do we even have DHT, and why is it converting? So the conversion of testosterone to DHT serves many purposes. So in fetal development, it plays a critical role in the development of characteristics, including the male genitalia. And DHT is crucial for male puberty, affecting things like body hair growth, sebaceous gland activity, and overall male patterning. Women also get sensitivity to DHT, and that is something that I am suffering from at the moment. Not all areas of the scalp are equally sensitive to DHT, and that's why hair loss follows a specific pattern, hence the pattern hair loss. The crown and frontal hairline are often more effective than the back and sides of the scalp. The presence of DHT disrupts the normal cycle of hair growth, and the growth phase becomes shorter, and the hair follicles spend more time in the resting phase, which means less hairs are actively growing at any given time. If you don't manage DHT, this can lead to permanent hair loss, as the hair follicles eventually cease to produce new hairs. I know, scary. Later on in the video, we'll be talking about treatments that effectively slow down hair loss and block DHT, which then helps to decrease the miniaturization of hair follicles. Now, the effects of DHT on hair loss involve specific genetic pathways, particularly those genes associated with hair growth and androgen signaling. So the role of metabolic factors such as insulin resistance adds another layer to the complexity of hair loss, especially in conditions like androgenetic alopecia. The AR gene provides instructions for making a protein located in various tissues, including in hair follicles, and this binds to androgens. Mutations in this gene or variations in expression can influence the body's sensitivity to DHT. The gene's activity in hair follicle cells lead to changes in hair growth, and when DHT binds to these receptors, that is causing more hair loss. So these genes are essential for the initiation of hair follicle development and subsequent cycles of hair renewal. But DHT has been shown to disrupt specific signaling, which can inhibit hair follicle regeneration and cycling. All this to mean is DHT is actually stopping hair growth and is reducing hair follicles' ability to grow because it's blocking and actually changing the signals and the instructions to the hair follicle. And it's basically telling it, no, miniaturize, don't grow. It's reducing the instructions for a healthy scalp, which is really interesting. Now we're going to talk about the role of insulin resistance in hair loss. And insulin resistance has been increasingly significant at playing a role in various conditions, but including hair loss. So here's how insulin resistance can influence hair growth. 1. Insulin resistance can lead to higher levels of insulin and insulin-like growth factors, which is IGF-1, in the body, which may enhance androgen production in the ovaries and adrenal glands. So since androgens are converted to DHT, this can exacerbate hair loss in individuals sensitive to DHT. I have PCOS, which means I have insulin resistance, so that is another layer to this whole story. High insulin levels can reduce the production of SHBG. That's a protein that binds excess sex hormones, including testosterone. So lower levels of SHBG means more free testosterone is available to be converted into DHT. Now, insulin resistance is often associated with chronic low-grade inflammation, and inflammation around the hair follicles can disrupt normal hair growth cycles and exacerbate hair loss conditions. So insulin resistance alters the production of hormones produced by fat cells such as leptin, and this plays a role in hair follicle health and growth. And the imbalance of these hormones can negatively affect hair growth. Elevated insulin levels can directly impact hair follicles by altering the metabolic state of follicle cells, potentially affecting their growth and life cycle. In summary, the interaction of DHT with specific genes and the broader influence of metabolic conditions like insulin resistance illustrate the complex nature of hair loss mechanisms. So all this to mean is that we need to address both the hormonal and metabolic factors to effectively manage hair loss and those predisposed to sensitivity to DHT or metabolic dysregulation. So how do we treat this? So we know the mechanisms between hair loss, but how do we treat it? So treating insulin resistance and high levels of DHT requires multi approach to this. So this includes combining dietary modifications, lifestyle changes, and possibly medical interventions. So 1, we really need to start eating more low glycemic diet and foods. So you really want to focus on foods that have a minimal effect on blood sugar levels, including non-starchy vegetables, some fruits, lean proteins, and healthy fats. Unfortunately, you're gonna have to cut the carbs. No carbs before marbs. Limit your foods that are high in sugar and refined carbs like white bread, pastries, pasta, because these are going to spike your blood sugar levels and increase insulin sensitivity. And if you stop these foods, that will help control your blood sugar levels and improve insulin sensitivity. That's why going on a gluten-free diet, drinking apple cider vinegar can help stop those spikes in blood sugar levels. Now, regularly exercising, aerobics, walking, running, cycling, swimming, just start moving the body to help use the insulin more effectively, especially resistance training, building muscle. It increases the number of glucose transporters in the cells, reducing insulin resistance. Achieving and maintaining a healthy weight can significantly improve insulin sensitivity and reduce the burden on the body's ability to manage your blood sugar levels. Get enough sleep. You want to make sure you're getting quality sleep, and sleep deprivation can lead to increased insulin resistance. You know, stress also is a huge factor, so techniques such as mindfulness, yoga, meditation is really beneficial. Now, this is crazy. So supplements, magnesium is so important. It's a vital mineral for insulin function, and many people with insulin resistance are deficient in magnesium. Also, chromium, known to enhance the action of insulin, as involved in carbohydrate, fat, and protein metabolism. Now, DHT blockers. So we want to block the enzyme 5-alpha reductase, and you can do this using topical DHT blockers. So things like saw palmetto. Studies suggest that saw palmetto may block 5-alpha reductase and is similar to finasteride, which causes impotency in some, so I wouldn't recommend taking that. Also, pumpkin seed oil. Some research indicates that it helps to reduce DHT. Green tea, drinking green tea every day. The EGCG in green tea can inhibit 5-alpha reductase. And also red reishi. Red reishi has been known to be the best functional mushroom to reduce 5-alpha reductase. And you want to make sure you're using rosemary oil, pumpkin, sage, peppermint. These are gonna help block DHT as well. So there you have it, a very technical insight into hair loss, into DHT. And I would, as a final point, remember that DHT can be carried in the sebum of your hair. It's made in the oil glands. So what can you do to help also is you don't want to leave DHT on your scalp. If you have a greasy scalp, if it's oily, that is just DHT just sitting there binding to your hair follicles. So make sure to wash your hair often and to use topical treatments to help block DHT, as well as internally as well. Other herbs like red clover, nettle root, soursop, all of these, just try and incorporate as many of these natural herbs into your diet. It's gonna help reduce it as well. So thanks for watching. If you have any questions on anything I've said, let me know in the comments. Bye.